Okay. So welcome to anybody who has been able to join us live, and a huge thank you to the Southend Psychology Service with Sarah and Nicole and another Sarah for enabling me to come and talk to everyone today about Watch and Wonder. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and just pop this onto, I always change these moments, just take just a moment. So welcome to Watch and Wonder. It's a very simple experiential program. We are using it within education and social care, and we're really interested in doing an antenatal to postnatal program. Currently, today, I'm going to be focusing more on education, but if you go to our website, you can see our social care package as well, working with foster parents and adoptive parents. One appeal right from the start that I really want to make is that we have got videos of families. We've got two families in specific that we've been working with who are both been wonderful parents. Mummy and daddy have been present. However, we are making an appeal to any parent out there who would perhaps like to help us make some videos. We would require 30 videos across the sort of year of your baby's life, because we really need some more ethnic diversity, please. We have two wonderful families, but we're just very aware that we haven't got very much ethnic diversity, and we would hugely appreciate anybody who would like to work with us for more a black or brown background, please. Okay, moving on. So these are our core theories. So this is sort of the backup of sort of the theory behind Watch and Wonder. The concept of social learning theory with Albert Bandura, really, really important. Esther Bick and that idea of infant observation. Carl Rogers with those core conditions, creating a really safe atmosphere for exploration. Working with attachment theory, John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. A lot of Dan Hughes. You're going to hear some more Dan Hughes and the attitudinal aspects of pace. And Dr. Karl-Heinz Brisch, the attachment-focused relational way of observing, which is also key to how Watch and Wonder works. So Dan is our patron, and he just says that it's very simply, clearly presents to a child the aspects of human relationship and the fundamental qualities in which human beings learn to relate to other human beings. It's just fundamental to what it means to be in a good relationship. And that sounds so extraordinarily simple, and yet is so complex. So we're just going to have a little video.
This is actually when I do therapy with children who've been traumatized in relationships. This is what the experience I want the child to have with a therapist, with a counselor, with a teacher, and with, say, a foster carer. And this is actually, it demonstrates it and provides what I'm helping these kids to now learn, provides it for all children. And it can help a child who has had excellent parenting to appreciate it more, to understand it more, and actually to be more receptive to allowing themselves to give expression to this way of being close in their relationships. And for children who have had a more challenged childhood, it enables them to see this way of relating doesn't have to be frightening. This way of relating can be something that is available to them in relationships that they may have and want to have with teachers, with counselors, with peers, with the parents of their peers, that they can start to take advantage of good relationships with good people, because in some ways, more intuitively now, they have a better sense of what it is that they want and need and may have missed in their earlier developmental stages. So many, I think, educational programs, even emotional literacy programs, are too rational. They're too cognitive in the presentation of them. And then the kid has exercises and multiple choice questions or something. And this is way at the other end of it. This is the real intuitive, experiential understanding of it that starts with that and builds on that from the inside out. Because it does build on it through the gentle reflecting, through noticing, through commenting, through questions. It doesn't just stay with the direct experience. But it doesn't assume it's there, and it builds on it. So then when you use words, the words have more meaning. I hope that gives you some sense of why I am an enthusiastic supporter. Thank you.
Okay, so we're just sort of thinking about, how does this work? How does a relational program and an experiential program work in education? And it is extremely simple. So it's observing a parent and child in the classroom, either live with a volunteer or using our videos. As I said, the videos we referred to, the families that we've been working with, who have created 30 videos so that we've got a whole year's worth of videos that a school can use, watching the parents interact with their baby and vice versa through the first year of their life. And we enable the children to watch and wonder. This is very much a program about being curious and about creating a safe place to be curious. And that means attaching well. And attaching well to our facilitator, who is often the teacher. And the facilitator also remains curious, just curious about the children's exploration and what they might discover together. And they wonder together about the behavior and the feelings. What might it be like to be the parent? What might it be like to be the baby? There is no wrong answer. This is just about creating a safe atmosphere to be genuinely curious. So we use the PACE model and the core conditions to help us relate positively to one another. And it's very important that that atmosphere is present. It's a very felt experience. It's a felt experience, but given a framework of words. And that naming is really, really important. And then also we have post-session discussions to allow an ongoing reflection, so we can join the felt experience with our cognitive understanding, and to help us, keep valuing what we've been thinking about together, valuing what each person thinks and feels together. I wanted to introduce you to Alistair Bryce-Clegg, who's an early years educational consultant, and he's talking about the importance of creating an atmosphere in the classroom. And one of the important points is, what do we remember from our childhood experiences? We may not remember facts and figures, but we remember how we feel. And so anything that we want to communicate in terms of learning, if we can attach that to something, the way that we feel, it's going to be remembered. So he's just telling us a little bit more about that.
And it was adults, not children, who were observing. And it was just, it was like regression, because the adults were just like the children in terms of, what did that mean? Well, that's interesting. And obviously, when you've had your own children as well, you look at it in a slightly different way, or lots of experience and theories. But I think it's about the level of engagement is important. And what's great about the experience is that you're both in it and outside of it. That's what a good facilitator is really important. Because it's not the children are passing around the baby for a poke. It's that the children are having an opportunity to observe. And sometimes when we're talking about things like carpet behaviours, and lots of discussions around carpet behaviours and how some children really struggle to regulate their behaviour on the carpet. When they've got something interesting, there is never an issue with behaviour regulation. But there are interesting elements to it. So partly, with experience, there is usually captivation, because you are mesmerised by this it's kind of this macro movements that's happening. You're really tuned into observing. You'll be listening really carefully for those things like the murmurings and the gurglings and the feeding sounds and all that sort of stuff. You're listening to what the parent is saying to the child, and if they're getting any kind of response at all, and the physicality of a baby, and the fact that it's all quite a small space to observe, that also makes it all really tangible. For them to have experience of observing and other children articulating feelings, or even being asked questions that make them reflect and explore on their own feelings, or give them the language to express, all of that is really useful. But you can then bring in now, when we were watching so and so and so and so, and that happened. What did we talk about then? How did that feel? What do we think that might have been? And you bring in lovely reference points in that children can relate to. Because if you haven't got a reference point and you're 3 or 4 or 5, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
So talking very briefly about what Alistair's referring to is a group, very simply either watching the video or with a parent and a baby volunteer. The children sit in a circle and the facilitator helps them watch the loving, attuned relationship and helps the children be curious and wonder. It really is that simple. And there is a way of just being wondering together that we do together. And in that, the children get to name feelings, name behaviors, be curious about motivation, be curious about what is happening. And that helps them develop this framework of understanding for their own self, so they become more self-aware. And they're also aware of the other and how they react to the other and how their behavior perhaps influences another. So it's this sort of social impact and personal impact in terms of how the child now is able to understand their behavior and emotional responses to others. The normalizing of a baby's behavior, so the normalizing of being angry or frustrated, and then being able to reflect that in the week with the children. Oh, I noticed when baby, he got frustrated when, I'm wondering if you're feeling frustrated. And so be able to use that as a framework to discuss language in a really emotional language in a really natural way. So I'm very curious about curiosity at the moment and helping children really become curious. And in order to do that, we have to have safety, that sense of a safe space to be curious from. And I hope we remain curious all our lives. It's just such a vital part of being human. And one of the things that Watch and Wonder does is really help engage children's curiosity, because there can be no right or wrong. So it transforms their relationship in the classroom with their teacher because they're being validated in a different way. I'm just going to share a short video with you from Griselda Kelly-Smith about curiosity within the Watch and Wonder way of working.
Curiosity and exploring. Babies and children explore everything. The face of whoever holds them, twisting mum's nose and pulling dad's glasses off. They gaze at their own hands, grab their toes. And later, when they're exploring the world on their hands and knees, things like trying out the cat's food and the stairs and emptying the kitchen cupboards. And as children grow, they explore more and more. They learn about their world and what they can do in it. And as they explore their external world, so they're exploring their internal world too. They're learning from their attachment figures what's encouraged, what gives shared delight, and what to be wary of. Pick that up very quickly. Secure attachment encourages children to want to find out their curiosity, where their curiosity leads them. If it leads them into interesting learning. Conversely, insecure children are often too frightened of making mistakes to allow their curiosity to lead them where they may be reprimanded, criticized, shamed. Encounter a teacher focused on results. They won't risk asking for help because their curiosity will be seriously compromised by that worry. Will it be okay? Will I get it wrong? Teachers who provide a secure base and become a safe attachment figure for their children, who will go to them for help and encouragement, are hugely important. Thoughts and ideas are acknowledged. And everything they say it's fed back as interesting. They're encouraged to be curious and to ask and to find out. Genuine curiosity. They're playful, usually playful with their energy. There's complete acceptance because everything is interesting and okay. Nothing can be wrong. And that's all done with empathy. And actually, those are the 4 words: playful, accepting, curiosity, and empathy.
Which brings us neatly back to Dan. So, moving on. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about impact, because you can find out about how the program works. It's sort of half an hour once a week within a classroom environment, works within nursery all the way through to secondary schools. We've had all the age groups doing Watch and Wonder. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about impact from practitioners' points of view. We talked a bit, Dan's talked a little bit about how that naming and providing an emotional framework, as has Alistair. And so this is again Griselda Kelly-Smith telling us a story about one of the children that she was privileged to watch in a mentoring session.
There was this one lad all curled up. And I know we've all seen children like that, all curled up, and he just looked anxious and tied up in a knot. This child spoke up, this little boy, quite a growly voice, really. I used to growl, but I don't growl anymore. And it was something that as he spoke, he began to uncurl.
Yes.
One leg came out and another. His arms relaxed a little bit. And he even looked up and explained that he growled because he couldn't get to have the words. And now he said, now I've got the words.
Yeah.
Now I know the words, I can talk. But it was just a delight that he showed and encapsulated in that little tiny moment, all the way from where he is when he's anxious to actually he could even explain it and say how it was for him.
Which is a wonderful moment. And we've had some children who have been elective mutes start talking in sessions because they feel safe enough to share their ideas and their observations and their curiosity. And to have that framework of emotional language, so I now can make sense of this whirlwind that's happening within me, and I can now explain it to the other, is just such a freeing moment for that child who could then communicate to other people. I'm also very curious about the impact this has on exploring a child's inner working model. And I'm going to show you a sort of a very brief 2-minute clip that I was using with a group of year 3 children, and I'll explain their reactions to it afterwards. And I just want you, I'm not going to talk over this video, I'm just going to let you experience it and think about the quality of the relationship that you're watching. Just feel, what is the quality of the relationship I'm watching? Siri has just tried to ask me what I'm asking. I'm not asking him anything, but here we go. Just very quickly, the noise in the background that you can hear, the sort of a high-pitched noise, is actually the it's not the dishwasher, it's the tumble dryer.
Right there. Yeah. Makes it a little bit. Yes, more. Okay. And she goes a little bit more finger. Yep. Okay. Yep. It tastes funny. Excellent. Chomp, 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 chomp. Chomp, 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 chomp.
Okay, so I was with a group of year 3s sharing this video. It's a snippet from a 10-minute video that I was using with this family, Lee and Ethan. Ethan's around about 4 months here, so he's still quite little. And I asked the children a global question. How many, put your hands up if you thought that Daddy and Ethan were enjoying being together? And roughly 80-ish% of the children put their hands up. They clearly thought that they were enjoying being together. And of the 20% that didn't, and really I should have anticipated this, and I said, what did you feel? What did you think about it? And one of them said, Daddy wanted to hurt Ethan. Ethan wanted to hurt Daddy. Daddy was disinterested. And so I said, that's really interesting, and I'm really glad that you've looked so carefully to find that out. Shall we just rewind this a little bit back? We're just going to focus on Daddy's face. And so we just watched Daddy's face. And then I said, what did you see? And so they just said, well, Daddy never stopped looking at Ethan. Oh, but that, Daddy was smiling. Oh, and you could see this sort of internal confusion while their own present expectations were being challenged by something that they could see was different. And then I said, let's rewind the video again and let's watch just Ethan's face. And there's moments when Ethan is chortling, a moment when he's sort of just really curious about Daddy's hand, looking really comfortable together. And again, it was like Ethan's smiling, and this confusion about how they had experienced. We're back to what Dan Hughes said at the beginning, really. This helps children realize relationships can be different, and we can find good enough adults to be in relationship with, and we can find good enough people to be in relationship with. And so this was sort of like a moment where these children had very gently been able to explore their own internal working model, and that hopefully now they will be able to think, oh, maybe it can be different. Maybe it can be different. So we think that's a very helpful part of the relational aspects that Watch and Wonder does. So as we know, the attachment relationships create our internal working model, which guides our feelings about future relationships. So this unconscious sort of awareness, but if we can help children be aware that things can be different, that is actually an incredible gift to give them. Another impact has been on the self-awareness and empathy of children. So it's sort of thinking about themselves becoming more aware, as we've said, about the framework of language and being able to empathize and be in better relationship with others.
The impact on the whole class, and it has helped evolve those relationships so that they create that safe space together. They have a greater recognition of one another's needs and responses and so on and so forth. And there's a trust that's built.
Yes, it's a pity, isn't it, when we do these Zoom things that we get these moments of freezing, but it still says a lot for us. So after the session, if there's an opportunity, we're using a mixture of resources. Everybody chooses perhaps to do this slightly differently. This isn't a prescriptive program. This is very much a program about being in relationship. So therefore it is attuned to the group that you are with. And so it is all about that sense of being attuned to the children that you're with and doing things within their curiosity. And we feel it is important to have these sort of post-session reflections afterwards, whether you use resources or find another way to reflect to help keep us wondering. So we've developed these resources that come with each video and just help the children imagine being Ethan, what might he say? Imagine being Mum, what might she be saying? Or for slightly older children, let's tell a story about what we think is happening between Daddy and Ethan. And then also to use a Watch and Wonder way of questioning as we wander together in sessions. And this is doing it on paper form. Imagine, what is Ethan trying to do and how is Mummy responding? It's always about what is happening between the parent and the baby. I thought it'd be nice to share just a couple of moments from children and how they have felt about it.
I think Watch and Wonder is good because it's helping us to learn how to communicate without speaking. I mean, it helps us to communicate with our eyes and not mouth.
Which I think is a very profound moment.
I think Watch and Wonder gives me mixed emotions. It has also helped me to improve in my learning. Watch and Wonder is something I love doing.
And what I love about that is that these mixed emotions, it doesn't just concentrate on happy. It actually is the whole range of human experience. So we have permission for all our feelings, and we can see how a parent helps us regulate them and doesn't tell us off and doesn't shame us, but just helps us understand how to regulate appropriately. And I think that's wonderful to be able to have access to the full range of human emotions without shame, without judgment.
Watch and wonder.
Ongoing research. We're a relatively new program, so we're looking to do more research, and we have some people interested in researching this, which is wonderful. And if you are curious about it and would like to help us with that as well, always happy for more people to help us be more curious together and inform our practice about what we learn. So, any questions? We had, there it is, our next training, our next national training is in June. So for 3 training sessions and 1 year of mentoring support, that costs £500. And you can get in touch with us there. I'm aware we're nearly running out of time. And I just wondered if there were any questions. Just let me find the right slide. Any questions? Anybody curious about how this might work? I'm just having a look at the chat to see if you have any questions. Just give you a little bit of time to be curious. I know the wonderful Sarah and Nicole have put on some websites there for you to have a look at, which is really helpful. And you can certainly find out more about the other programs that we do, including our social services package to foster parents and adoptive parents. And we're also, as I said, hoping to do an antenatal package to postnatal package. This idea that new mummies and their partners can come and watch another parent and go through this place of being curious and wandering together in a safe place. And then in that way, what we found out from the parents who've done this live with us is what an incredible opportunity it's been to be very intentional about the way that they parent. They've been lovely parents, but it's things like, oh, what's mummy doing with her hand now as she strokes baby's head? How does that feel? And the mummies would say to me afterwards, oh, I'd never realized I was doing that. And so after sort of getting over the shock of being watched and just being in the moment with their baby, it was this lovely biofeedback loop about what a wonderful job they were doing. And it just, all of the mummies, all the volunteers I've ever worked with have all said to me that it helped them be even more intentional about the way that they parented, to be even more sensitive and aware of how their baby was communicating to them and how they could communicate back. Again, what's happening between the mother, the father, and the baby. It doesn't have to be a mother and a baby, of course. It could be a father, it could be a grandparent. Whoever has a loving, attuned relationship with the baby can be a volunteer in a classroom. Or as I said, we have these videos. So again, another appeal for other families who would maybe like to approach us. So we have one new message. Oh, it's just telling us where we're available. So that's lovely. I think we've got a minute to go. So thank you very, very much to the Educational Psychology Reach Out Programme. You've done an incredible job. I understand you've got 150 videos for people to enjoy. It's an incredible resource and library. Thank you very, very much for joining me, and maybe I will hear from you soon. So thank you very much for your time today.